Welcome to part 2 of the Motors Mouth podcast season review, brought to you by Baltic Apprenticeships. Let's get straight into it, Steve. January felt like Vauxhall were really putting their print or their footprint on this season. 3 hugely significant wins, scoring 9, conceding 2. They were actually named the Premier Division Club of the Month. Now, 3 wins doesn't sound a lot, but when we look at who those games were against, what we thought at the time was a 2-horse race, title race, away at Wythenshawe Town, in the freezing cold, in Manchester on a Tuesday night, but the Motors turned on the style. So yeah, it took his breath away just by how good that performance was.
Wythenshawe. First of all, credit to them for getting that game on.
We got the blue paint out for the lines.
Blue paint, we had a little joke with the linesman through the blue paint, and he didn't find it funny at all. But yeah, it was billed as a sadly sad, wasn't it, at the time?
The North West Counties website put out an article either a few days before or a few days after saying it was a 2-horse race between Vauxhall and Wythenshawe.
But like I say, it was terrible weather. It was probably 1 degree, something like that, if not lower, as the night went on. How they got the game on, I don't know, because it was torrential snow, wasn't it, them couple of days. It was, we got there and the pitch looked fine, and we had a flurry at half time. I'm thinking, it's going to be a bit dodgy getting this on second half, because there was no players, obviously, they're all in the changing rooms, and it was starting to stick. But what a performance, though, from minute 1. I think he had a little goal, didn't he? Kieran made a couple of saves early on, but we just grew into the game, and the front 3 again were unbelievable. And 2-0 up at half time, I think it was, and then Slabhead late on.
Ben Duffin Kelly with a powerful header to seal that win.
But some performance to go away from home. It was, the fans were alright, they give a bit, didn't they? And we had, was 5 sending off, wasn't there?
5 red cards, we haven't even got to the 5 red cards yet.
So yeah, there was,
but it wasn't that kind of game, was it?
No, we were a nasty game. I think the referee just lost his head, but enough the fans, they give a bit out and all that, but a couple of them come up to us pre-match, didn't they? Like,
they were great.
Complimenting about what we do and stuff like that. So after the game, it was all handshakes and all the best and all that, which is what it should be. But yeah, some performance that to go away from home in them conditions.
We thought that at the time was a hugely significant win to get one over on your title rivals, and it's paid dividends in the end.
Yeah.
So that was followed by quite a unique experience just a few days later. Vauxhall's first ever trip to the Isle of Man, to Douglas to play FC Isle of Man. Now, let's focus on matters on the pitch first. About a minute or 2 into the game, Fiora Davis of FC Isle of Man smashes a free kick at the crossbar. Kieran O'Loughlin's nowhere near it. If it goes an inch lower under the bar, it's in, and the game's completely different. They came out all guns blazing in that first half, but as we've mentioned in the first part of this show, superior fitness, superior quality paid in the end. Some quality goals in that game.
Yeah, I didn't go to that one to work commitments, but I'm gutted now that I missed out on it, to be honest with you, because the stories we've heard sounds like a right laugh. I heard the referee and the linesman were great. But yeah, it was hopefully it's been a blast by all accounts. That was just a joke for a few inside people there. So if people don't realise what I meant, don't worry about it. But yeah, no, it was brilliant. And, it looks like by all accounts everyone enjoyed themselves and had a great time. And Isle of Man were brilliant hosts. I've seen that a few times with other clubs.
Important to follow up that win away at Wythenshawe with another tricky trip on the road.
I think Mick said at the time, didn't he? Wythenshawe, if we don't go and beat Isle of Man Saturday, it's the Wythenshawe wins nothing, isn't it? So I think when we have won them big games, we've always followed up the weekend after or the mid-weekend, just cementing the points.
Now, as you've made reference to, off the pitch, I will admit I wasn't looking forward to it. I was thinking, I have to go all the way to Isle of Man for a counties game and spend my weekend there. But what I thought was an arduous trip turned into a hugely unique experience that you don't really get at this level of football. As you said, FC Isle of Man, the staff and the volunteers were great hosts. Exploring the island of Douglas was great, even though there was basically a storm there. I got drenched by an incoming tide. And I think there are a lot of stories still untold from that weekend.
Yeah.
As we look over at one of our esteemed colleagues, I'm not sure we'll ever hear those full stories.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, the one.
Who knows? There's rumours abound of a pre-season trip to FC Isle of Man, so who knows?
Yeah, but if you Google it, if you Gmail into stevehilton@gmail.com and ask the question, I'll send an email back to divulge what went on.
A case for the defence now, contender number 3 for the Alan Barton Player of the Year award, and that player is Marcus James. Now, we actually named Marcus our January Player of the Month. That caused an interesting debate amongst the first team, but we felt it was about time that Marcus James got the credit he deserves. He's been a mainstay in the defence this season, been a really consistent figure amongst a number of changes at centre-half. How good's his season been?
Oh, he's been solid, hasn't he? He's been absolutely solid. I remember Norwich Victoria. Everton. Just every ball with bangs like a magnet to his head. But yeah, he's the tackle against Windsor.
I will never stop raving about that. I think we heard it and it was the opposite end of the pitch.
The crunch, but he won the ball. She shouted a penalty, but he won the ball clearly. And you know what? He's a nice lad as well. He's a top lad. He always comes over, talks to us and all that. And yeah, he's been brilliant.
I remember speaking to him towards the end of the previous season, and he was bemoaning the fact that he'd get a good few games in and then he'd pick up an injury. But that's one positive of his season, that he's been so consistent and getting on the pitch and putting in those performances.
Yeah, and you know what, that's what you want. You want to play as consistently as you can, because that's where you're going to build your confidence and your fitness level and stuff like that. So it's probably done the world of good if he's stayed injury free and he's kept his place and he's grew as a player as he has gone, as the whole team have. But yeah, it's well deserved to be in the final 11 for player of the season.
Now, he only did get 1 goal, but 12 clean sheets, that's not a record to be sniffed at. Following the trip to the Isle of Man, this is another case of, if we don't win here, what's the point of winning those games? Away at Ashton Athletic.
Yeah.
In the rain, Greater Manchester. Quite a poor performance on the day from Vauxhall.
Yeah.
But they got the business done.
Yeah. You know what? I hope no one from Ashton's watching this, but one of them clowns I'm looking forward not to go to that team next season. Yeah, it was a miserable day. I don't know what, I think on the day you had to give Ashton a bit of credit, because they were I think they were rock bottom at like single digit points. And,
I think we doomed them to relegation at that point in January.
Come out to have a right go, and was it 1-0 then? They went 2-1 up.
2-1, yeah. It was late in the second half.
And then it was Lewis Buckley. Ben Holmes
was man possessed that day.
We were sat on the side where me and tried to take shelter, and we were literally right on the line with the 2 goals, and we were sat with some of the committee and Tom Mathers and Lenny, and it was again, it was just like that. Something's happened. We're grinding this out. We didn't deserve nothing for a game. It's probably a bit harsh on Ashton, but again, you're playing until that final whistle, which they did, and got the 3 points, the vital winner from Lewis Buckley with some finish as well.
I think it was like 90 plus 17 minutes or something, wasn't it? But he come up clutch.
First time on a terrible pitch, first time, bottom corner. Great finish.
So the Motors were flying through January and into February. Now February, possibly the worst period of the season. As I've said, we were away at Prestwich the team were debating the awarding of the Player of the Month for January. Now I was thinking, right, we've lit some fires under some players here. Then we went 1 in 5, so we clearly did our jobs there.
The Prestwich one was a strange one because we should have had one stone wall penalty first half, and then the decision to give them a free kick, which led to their goal, was just.
We were right in line with it as well, weren't we?
Disgrace. Was it Marcus James? Was it?
Scythelwell.
He's won the ball. The lads kicked it through him, and the referee's given a free kick. He's just like, what have you seen there to give that? And it was obviously a defining point of the game because they scored off the free kick, which I don't think we defended it great, but Prestwich is a strange one because I think Reece was talking to their manager and he said that they beat all the top teams.
Yeah, and
but they drop points.
Silly points.
So they're the team to watch next season because if they get rectify that,
there'll be a force next year.
They won't be far off, and but just second half again. It was the first half we were all right. We had chances. Second half, I don't think we laid the glove on. We just poor.
Now that defeat was sandwiched by being dumped out of the Cheshire Senior Cup by Altrincham, and then it was followed by a defeat here at the Van Eupen Arena against Northwich Victoria, a consolation goal from Bobby McDonald. But again, they were compounding bad results with more bad results.
I think the Northwich game, when you give a team like, they're what, top 8, top 6. You give a team like that a 2-goal start, they're not always going to, like a Winsford, they're not always going to give you them chances to win the game. I remember second half, we absolutely battered them. And we had a goal disallowed. We got one back in, Bobby, but it just weren't to be. But yeah, the quality teams, if you go a couple of goals down, it's going to be a lot harder than beating your Winsford and stuff like that. So just on the day it weren't to be, but you just can't give teams leads.
And at that point, Vauxhall had been swallowed up by Wythenshawe, by Avro, after establishing that gap.
Yeah, and I think Berry could have gone, I think at that point could have gone 9 points clear with their games in hand as well. So it was all to do.
And then, the final game of February, we went away to Congleton Town, and personally speaking, I think that was the worst performance of the season. Congleton, worthy of their 2-0 win on the day.
Do you know what, you come out and you go on Twitter throughout the season, and it just seems that, and when a Congleton are home, they go for the throw from minute 1. The amount of first, second minute goals you see that they scored and 1-0 up within like 3:05, it's like every other game. So the game plan was get at them. They've probably seen that we've had a few different results as well, and that would have been the message. They were flying high in the Vars. He had a quarter-final, semi-final coming up, didn't he? Quarter-final against Berry, wasn't it?
That's right.
A week or two later. So, players are fighting for shirts and stuff like that. So they just went at us, bang, first minute, 1-0. And then I think we had half a chance, and the keeper's bobbled one off a team shot, but after that, it was just, we brought a couple of young lads on second half to try and change it up. But
Zach Catesby and Jack Darlington, they were impressive on.
They were probably the two better players, and they come on the last 20 minutes, but it was just a bad day at the office. But again, lovely people at Congleton.
Yeah, it was a good day, but not on the pitch.
Not the football side, but we talk about these games that we go to, and some of the welcomes we get is brilliant, isn't it? And the volunteers behind the scenes that they do with these clubs is great.
Now, I remember asking you a question before kick-off at Congleton. Did Congleton have other priorities in mind? So would they have taken an eye off that league game? And then, as you said, within a minute, they shut me up, taking the lead, and they never looked back.
It's one of them, you can say, I can't remember my answer, probably I don't know whether I sat on the fence or said either way, but it's one of them, you could go, right, look at the Vars, they're not going to win the league, they're going to focus on the Vars, but then you need to win the league games and perform because the players are going to want to play in the Vars games. So it can breed a bit of, momentum. Rather, I don't think players will go into a goal, but I probably said something totally different. I'm probably wrong either way, but on the day, it was just, they turned up, they had a goal, and they done it.
And at that point, we were questioning whether the league was out of reach for Vauxhall at that point. End of February, going into March.
Everyone's massively down after that game. I think we were in our hands, certainly then. I mean, like I say, Berry could have gone their games in hand. and give them a chance that they could play where they want. You know, they could go. I'm sure it was 9 points where they win the games in hand. And at the time, Berry was just 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 2-1, 1-0.
They were relentless at that point, weren't
they?
They
churning results out. Winshaw, after we beat Winshaw, they went on a massive dip. But they started to go on a bit of a run.
More fun,
They went like... after we beat them there, they just totally went. But they were starting to pick up again. Avro were coming back into it. And we'd had this little rocky spell. And you're thinking, oh God, have we threw it away?
So we're going to move into March now, but before we take a deep dive into the month, the first game of March was Lower Breck at home. It was a comprehensive win for Vauxhall, 6-1 on the day. It was a great day all round. And there was, before kick-off, it was a special occasion at the club. There was a ceremony, an unveiling of memorial benches in memory of a number of influential figures at the club. The already mentioned Alan Bartlett and Lynn Bartlett, Kendricks, Derek Mathers and Brian Paisley, all people who are sadly no longer with us, but their spirit is still much alive in this club.
All of them give time for the club, and you know, privileged to spend time with Brian Paisley, you know, Derek Mathers, our old coach and Ivan, and committee member, and obviously Ken and Alan, who I was very close to. It's great to see, you know, the John Wayne and James Lyons and the club, you know, remembering these people as they should do, because they put so much time and effort into it. You know, volunteers again, and keeping the memory going at the club. It's great to see.
But just before we move on from that, we need to give a huge mention to another figure here at the club, Len Jones, who completed a charity bike ride to raise funds for those memorial benches. Great achievements from Len.
Yeah, Lenny, brilliant. Another great stalwart to the club, and gives a lot into it, and he's a great guy, he's a funny guy.
I love chatting to Len, he does make me laugh. Now, in attendance for that game, Lower Breck, was in fact local MP, Justin Mathers, the MP for Ellesmere Port and Neston. Now, Justin, on that day, joined us on a feature we added to matchday coverage for the 2022-23 season, Comms Cam. So when we've been able to, we've brought you live commentary. It might have been us two, or it might have been one of us with a special guest. Now, Justin, who was great and gracious enough to turn up on the day and do comms as well as his civic duties, he's turned into a bit of a lucky charm for the club. Not only did he see the 6-1 against Lower Breck, but earlier in the season he saw the 5-0 home win against Burscough. So does that mean we have to get him back for every home game next season?
Yeah, probably every game. We'll be playing all our games at home.
Oh, excuse me, yeah, that's true. We're out of a job
yeah. But no, lucky charm, and you see him tweeting and sharing our tweets and all that, so he's brought into us. So we're just Justin, bring a few of your constituents down for next season.
But Justin was just one of a long line of guests that we've been lucky enough to get on to Comms Cam. I'm just going to list them because, you know, it's a hugely special part of our coverage that we're able to get guests on. Much to the hard work of the people behind the camera, but we have to schmooze them on camera and make them feel comfortable. So I'm just going to go through the list of who we've managed to get on. So we've had former players, Kev Thompson, James McClenaghan, Paul Lacey, Gary Washington. We even had North West Counties Football League safeguarding director, Gary Langley. We've had coaches from Vauxhall, past and present, Neil Fitzgerald and Mark Cowan. We've even had people from the club themselves. We had the chairman himself, John Waring, Walking Football Coordinator John Bolton, committee members Harry Deary, and we both have the privilege of commentating alongside the legend Tom Mathers. Director of football Matthew Moe, who was on 4 times. I think he likes it, you know. I think he enjoys it. And our very own Rhys Gavin, who reached double figures.
Yeah, Matty's little sidekick, Rhys there.
Rhys getting on 10 times.
10 times?
Yeah, he was alongside me for the Isle of Man.
He done a few of me, done Kendall with me, and a few home games as well, so good lad, Rhys. Well done, mate, I'll give you a plug.
We had fan perspectives, we had
Jesus.
we had Jesus himself from the Ellesmere Port Social, Danny Beddoes, and we had lifer Andy Starkey. You had the privilege of
Lockridge
commentating alongside Andy. We even had opposition fans and club members. So you're right, Wythenshawe Town Media Officer Ewan.
Yeah.
That was the first game I went off,
Yeah.
and we pulled some strings and got Ewan on. And one of my favourites, which I did watch live at home, was Paddy Him Away, where you were alongside Wheel Talk Sport podcast host and Paddy Him fan Joe Skinner.
Well, I was supposed to be commentating, he was co-commentating the way down with Joe. I follow him on Twitter now, he's a good lad, it's a good job.
But that is an impressive roster of guests that we've been able to get on, and it's been a true highlight of this season.
You missed one out though?
Well,
alright, okay.
We're getting to that. I can feel the excitement because I'm excited to bring it back as well. But there is two separate guests that I want to mention. Now, we need to go all the way back to August when we visited South East Yorkshire to play Swallownest in the first qualifying round of the Isuzu FA Vars. Now, it was a lovely day, sun shining all day. Vauxhall shone on the pitch, nice 5-0 win. Bobby McDonald got a hat-trick that day. But in the second half, you were gracious enough to give up your commentary position to two budding football commentators, media personalities.
I wanted a pint, I don't know that. What's the head of the dog? So.
But I was joined on Comscam by two Chesterfield and Swallownest fans, Fred and Will. There's got to be a Scooby-Doo joke in there somewhere. But Fred and Will, two 14-year-old lads, and they honestly taught me a lesson. They were really knowledgeable about football, great commentators, and that experience and that whole day at Swallownest.
Yeah, they were great, man.
That is just what non-league football is about. Football in the sun. Great welcome by the club. Getting involved. We spoke to some of their committee members, and I think we spoke to the chairman as well. Yeah. On comms with Fred and Will. It was just one of my highlights of the season.
Yeah, it was a good day. Good club.
Now I know what you were talking about. We can't mention
you clown.
Comms Camp without going all the way back to the first day of the season. Now, I don't think we have a successful season on Comms Camp without this guest. He went viral and pretty much set the tone for the rest of the season. I am, of course, talking about Simo himself, Mark Simpson. Let's have a look at just this TV gold. Goldborn drives into the box.
Penalty.
And it goes down.
Penalty!
Referee deems it otherwise and calls a dive.
Unbelievable.
He's still down.
It's a penalty, you clown!
Right, so the lesson for our guest next season is
next 18 pints of Guinness before you come on.
And tell the referee what you really think of him.
I luckily used clown, not something else. Simo's a good lad. I played with Simo back in the day, and he likes it better as well. I think when we got him, he was only like 6 or something.
No, he was a great laugh, Simo, and you know, he, like I said, he went viral. Everyone's seen it, and everyone loves it. So, Simo, if you want to come back, just saying. Now, let's go back to that Lowbrook game, because there was a goal scored by our next contender for the Alan Barton Player of the Year. It was a rocket late in the first half by Vice-Captain Ben Holmes.
Black and white.
So Ben Holmes then, Steve. 43 appearances of 7 goals. Now at the start of the season, he took the captaincy in the absence of club captain Tom Mitchell. And he stepped up and he took on that armband and that responsibility. And he admitted to me it's not something he necessarily expected or wanted, but he took it on and was a huge part of that unbeaten run, that 100% run at the start of the season. What do you make of his season?
Well, you would say 43 appearances. Would have been 44 if he didn't play Sunday League, but we won't go into that too much. Sorry, Ben. Yeah, great lad. Got a goal in him. Maradona. That's them Berry fans tuning in.
A wonderful left foot and the greatest handball since Diego himself.
Since Diego Maradona himself, yeah. The header against Berry to put us 1-0 up, some header. But no, he's a great lad. You know what you're going to get from Ben. He's got, like I say, he's got a goal in him. Doesn't stop working, doesn't stop running. Great asset to the team. Top lad as well.
And he's played he's just played relentless.
Yeah.
The back end of the season, and again being one of those.
Apart from Berry away. we all know what happened there. But he's been like a man possessed, and again took on that responsibility. He's one of the senior members of the team. I think there's been, obviously we've got, only have one captain on the pitch, but I think we've got loads of leaders out there now, and you want to win, and that's shown throughout the season, and the people have grew as people throughout the season. So, your players have come in and been a bit quiet and all that, grew into being really vocal and stuff like that. But no, Ben's a real asset. Like you say, he's a top player. He's got goals in him. Doesn't stop working. And again, he's a top lad as well.
So we've already talked about the first game of March. Let's dive into the bowels of March, because we've certainly got a lot to talk about in March. Now, I don't know if it's recency bias, but March really sticks out to me. And it's all started with a game that no longer exists in the official records.
I didn't go, but I'm glad. I was thinking about this before as well. Everyone's saying we want to get that game replayed.
This is Winsford away.
Reference.
I think everyone knows about it.
It's the one game you don't want to get replayed. You don't want to go back there at any time of the season. It's one of the places you could go in August at 35 degrees, everywhere else will be cold there. It's just like Hartlepool away. It's just,
So let's give some context. The original game was supposed to be played. It was the first game in January.
Tune in, Berry fans. This is where it's going to get interesting. We know you are watching. Daniel Moriad says, Kung Fu Shaker, Daz G, Johnny Bass.
Right, so that original game was supposed to be played in January on a Saturday at 3 o'clock. Now we arrived at 1:15, and there had already been a major power failure at the stadium.
Yeah.
They tried to get the power on, failed to do so. The ref kept us there till about 4:45, fading light, called the game off.
Didn't even get a burger.
Didn't get the burger you ordered.
No.
Fast forward to 6th of March, the game finally takes place. That burger actually came, by the way. I finished it off.
I went there, I was in work, so I just started a new job, so I couldn't go. So,
and as you said, going to Winsford on a Monday night, no disrespect to Winsford, you do not want to go to Winsford on a cold Monday night.
You don't want to go to Winsford anyway.
But
footballing-wise,
footballing-wise,
I'm sure it's a lovely town. And that.
On the pitch, it was another disaster of a performance from Vauxhall. Mick actually said it was a shambles. Now at that point, we witnessed it live. We thought the league's definitely done.
Yeah.
That's come off the back of the Congleton defeat, going into the Winsford game, and it felt like Vauxhall was stuttering and had blown it, basically. But what that Winsford game's done is kicked off a chain of events that has led. Well, we're still talking about it now, and we're still experiencing it. But I'm sure we will try and go through it.
For those who watch Corrie and EastEnders, just knock on the head, just follow North West Counties Twitter for Berry AFC, Winshaw, Vauxhall. It's been like a soap, hasn't it? It's been you can make a movie out of it. It's been brilliant. Well, it's brilliant now, but could have gone either way.
But following that Winsford game, Vauxhall rediscovered their form, got 4 wins out of 4, and really propel themselves back into contention.
Yeah, I think obviously the confidence comes that when you can play when you want, so when you don't will play till we win, it's always a bonus. So you've got that confidence to know that if we lose this, we're just going to replay it and we'll go again. So, I think it just builds confidence, doesn't it?
And that month ended with, at the time, the biggest game of the season. Bury AFC. We were separated for so long, the season, games being called off. They finally visited the Van Houten Arena, and a lot was riding on the game, and Vauxhall came out smelling of roses.
I think they were still cheering out their 1-0s and 2-1s weren't they at the time, and the Winford game we'd heard that was going to get replayed, so that was put us back in the mix.
We can't lie, that gave everyone a boost.
Yes, no, it did give everyone a boost at the time, but I said a few months back that I want to win the game, I want to win the season by 4 points at least, because that game would be immaterial. And that's the case now. I think we won it by what, 8? Was it in the end? 7, 8?
I don't even remember the standings.
But it's more than 3 anyway. So those
out.
people who were kicking off over the Winford game, it's, you know what, it doesn't matter. And again, we touched on it a few weeks ago, didn't we? It's not our fault. Winford didn't pay the bills. They were suspended. Don't have a go with us. But look, any team that took it, I said that at the time, any team that drops on the lap, they'll take it all day long. No team, if Bury AFC wouldn't show that, I'd turn around and say, we would have said, no, keep the result. He's a lion. Because you would have took it. So, yeah, we'll take it gratefully and, shall we move on to that game in a bit?
Just sticking with the home game against Bury.
Sorry, we're off on a bit of a tangent there, but
this is what has happened these last few months of the season.
It still affects me greatly.
That game, still in that first half, Bury brought a big crowd with them, but Vauxhall took control of that game and got themselves to deserve a 2-0 lead at half time.
Do you know what? I'm just going to mention something on the. I was going to put the camera up for the coverage of the game, and I walked past 3 Bury fans, and this was 6:30, and I got these cheating scouts started to see. I can't say it, and so I stopped and spoke to him. You played all your games at home. You played the first 10 league games at home. I was trying to say to him, we didn't. And it's just, you always get a few bad apples in every fan base, but these were just so, whether they're being just blinking so much or whatever, or just driven down the throat, that they're just so, you were just barring around the wrong team, you know what I mean? They were just obsessed with repeating that we played 10 games in all and we had the league in our pocket and all that. And you know what, it got boring in the end, but I just want to bring it up because that was before we'd even kicked the ball in the first game, and they were toxic then. But we won the game. That's all.
So coming off the back of that win here at home, it's another case of, if you don't win the next game, what was the point of winning that game?
Yeah.
Now, sandwiched in between the 2 games, home and away against Bury, at the start of April was Squires Gate. Another brilliant performance.
Yeah.
Squires Gate,
Give it a go.
credit, they gave it a go, caused some problems, but at that point I just felt Vauxhall couldn't be stopped. They were just on a roll. 4 goals on the day.
Especially the Bury first game, because I think we would have lost that. It would have been, again, doom and gloom. Great first half performance. Bullet header from Ben Holmes, and then a bit of an individual brilliance from Conor Howard. But then, like you say, if you don't win your next one, it's it's pointless. But we had a great first time performance against Squires Gate. They come into it, but we again churned out and Slabhead.
That was when Slabhead was born, yeah.
And I flicked it on. We got the winner, and then we got another late one. But you're right there. It's like we're gonna go with a roll here.
So that kicked off April in some style, in anticipation of what has been, well, it's been talked about by so many people. Everyone's got their own individual story. Let's start on the pitch.
Yeah.
We travel to Mossley. Bury now needing to win, really. stay in contention. It was a bit of a to and fro in the first half. In the second half, both teams down to 10 men. A bit of utter class from two individuals in the team. Ethan Goldborn playing left back on the night, covering for Greg Drummond, who was sent off.
The ball was unbelievable. You watch it back on, I think on Berry's footage when they got the camera on the far side. The way he whipped it round, because defenders made a run to try and play the offside stop.
He fools everyone, doesn't he?
He just nipped it in behind him, and the run off Berkey was perfect as well. Berkey's composure to take it around the goalie, finish it brilliant.
So we'll talk about those goal scoring exploits in a short while, but that game will live long in the memory for all the right reasons and all the wrong reasons.
You know what? I don't care. Berry fans and certain committee members were disgraced that day. For us to stop commentating on a game and non-league football as volunteers through threat of violence is absolutely disgusting. Some of the things that were said to us at half time, some of the things that were said to by their fans and their committee, that we don't, basically telling us don't cheer your goal because you're going to get lynched. Should be ashamed of themselves. They still think they're in the second division. They're not. You're a new club. Get over yourselves. You're 2 years old. Got no history. You haven't got a ground. Jog on. We're champions and sort your heads out.
So as we have pointed out, the scorer on that day was our final contender for the Alan Barton Player of the Year award, and that man is Michael Berkey.
Black and white.
Berkey's become a bit of a big game player this season, hasn't he? He's had some hugely significant moments.
Do you know what is from a player he was last season? He's come on so much, just on like his decision making, his end product, and like you say, he's moments of brilliance in big games. He's just he's been so much improved from last season. I think it's been helped with like the likes of Lewis Buckley up front, someone to find, someone to work off. But yeah, he's been from minute one on the first game to the end of the season. He's been brilliant.
You mentioned his improvement. 19 goals this season for Berkey. 6 in 4 games in April alone at the business end of the season. He's the man for the big occasion.
Yeah, like I say, the Berry game, and Isle of Man away is another one, isn't it? And he scored against Windsor, and it's just an output's been phenomenal this season for a wide player. He's just got better and better as the season's gone on. Got more confidence. And he's just stepped up from last season, just to another level.
So they are the 5 contenders for the Alan Barton Player of the Season award. Now, before we actually name the recipient of that award, we actually have another award to announce, and that is in recognition of the goal of the season. And again, you were very passionate about this being named after another huge figure at this club.
Yeah, so Kendricks, the first ever person who ever met when I signed Vauxhall back in '98. Ken was the secretary, signed me up. Kept in touch with him. He, again, similar to Alan, he's fought a long battle with cancer and sadly lost it last year. But I've always kept in touch with Kate and Emma and Sue, his wife, and George. I've kept in touch with them on social media for the last 10-15 years. Lovely family, great guy Ken. Always happy to do commentary last season when he was well enough.
He did, yeah. It was great to have him.
Great help with the documentary on the FA Cup run. top guy, and he sadly missed. So again, I reached out to Sue, Emma, Kate and George and said, look, this is the idea. We want to, name the goal of the season after Ken. Is that okay? And you were all like, yeah, brilliant. Thanks a lot, Ilto. And yeah, so that will hopefully again, like Howland's, will be an ongoing award.
So we've actually employed a bit of a system for our nominees for goal of the season. We've done the match of the day approach, where we selected what we considered goal of the month.
Yeah.
And they are the contenders from all the way back from July/August right up to April. So let's have a look at the nominees for the Kendricks Goal of the Season award.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Some goals in that montage. It was an interesting conversation we had trying to decide.
Listen, football's all about opinions, and some people agree, some people disagree with your opinion. I think me and you disagreed on it. We put it out to a few extended media team, and we got a winner.
I would just like to point out, we left out quite a lot of good goals, just because they ended up being scored alongside.
Well, I think the LCAG game, you could have had 3 goals in the goal of the season, you know what I mean? So
the game against Winsford, I think there was even from Winsford, there was 5 goal of the season contenders in there.
Yeah.
But there could only be one winner. Now, we've gone for significance over style. So let's find out.
I think it's a great goal. But
nothing wrong with the goal.
Topped off with the importance of the goal.
So let's have a look and see who is the winner of the Kendricks Goal of the Season award. Michael Berkey, the winner of the Kendricks Motormouth podcast Goal of the Season for his winning goal in the 1-0 victory away at Bury AFC. Michael, what do you remember about the goal?
Ethan's well, he got past. Now we just broke midfield, didn't it? And then I said to him in the changes after, because he switched from right back to left back, and he's right footed, didn't he? So, and I hadn't seen much of the ball, so I said, what am I going to say to you now? Switch it. And he fell to midfield, didn't he? And he just played away a good ball, and then I probably made it too hard for myself. I probably should have just shot, but I've gone, hard way, took it round and tapped it in right in front of their fans. Yeah, buzzing.
As you just touched on, probably not your most eye-catching goal of the season, but possibly the most important.
Definitely the most important, 100%. Yeah, I don't think I think that when we won that, we thought we were going to win it. You know what I mean? Yeah, so yeah, it was good to get that goal. Yeah, important.
I mean, it's well documented what happened on that night at Bury AFC, but you've seen the type of character who enjoys a hostile environment. Was that the case that night?
It makes me play better. Yeah, I wish I could play in front of that every game. Yeah, so. As soon as I scored, I ran straight over. Yeah, I was loving it. But yeah, again, just a worldy pass from Ethan and an important goal. Yeah.
Finally, you scored 4 of the 9 goals in our goal of the season shortlist. We determined to have your own goal of the season competition.
I don't know. I say it to a lot of my mates. I say I don't know what it is from right wing. I feel like when I score, I don't score tapping ever. I have to score a hard goal. Do you know what I mean? I rarely ever tap one in, do you know what I mean? I wish I would get more of them, but I don't know.
Well, Michael Barton, you are the winner of the Kendricks Moses My Podcast Goal of the Season.
Thanks,
congratulations.
Appreciate it. Nice one, thank you.
Arguably the most important goal of the season.
Yeah. Do you know what? You wanted to win for the one. I said this one, and we put it out to a few people said the Benny one. I just think that the run, the ball off Ethan, the composure, where it was in front of a hostile crowd, it had everything to it.
I'm not discounting the quality of it. That ball from Ethan is we've spoken about it already. It is top quality, and I actually didn't give Berkey enough credit for the finish. I actually call it a glorified toe banger, but he's took it round the keeper.
Round the keeper, held the defender off, and then managed to use his strength and put it in.
But that's indicative of Berkey this season, the man for the big occasion, and you couldn't get a bigger occasion than that game and that goal.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
a worthy winner.
Then they got me and you lynched for cheering.
Do you know what? That's enough for me to give it goal of the season. The fact that we almost lost our lives celebrating it. So Berkey takes the Kendricks Goal of the Season award. Can he add the Alan Barton Player of the Season award? Now, just before we have one final look at the contenders for this award, I think we've earned the right to give some shout outs to some players, because we had some difficulty narrowing it down to 5 contenders, because there've been so many brilliant performances from players up and down the pitch, from late incoming goalkeepers to impact players in midfield. But we've both chosen a player that we wanted to give a shout out to that might not necessarily have been in the running for the Player of the Year award, but deserves some recognition. You want to go first?
Yeah, so Ethan Goldball for me. I spoke to Ethan and his dad a few times about this, and I said, it's been a bit of a stop-start season for him. He had the injury early on, we put him out for a couple of months, and then, give him his due. He went and played reserve team football to get minutes as well, and then he's had a couple of red cards. It's just been stop-start, but the last 2 or 3 months he's been solid. He's switched from left back to right back. He's versatile. He's been solid in that defence when he's come back in, and I think if he wouldn't have had them 4 or 5 months where it was just a bit in and out for whatever reason, I think he would have been a contender for playing the season. And he'll only, he's 19, 20, he's only going to get a bit better, stronger next season.
And accuse me of bias all you like. I said to him a couple of games ago he was playing out of his skin, and he really was, and he was switching right and left back. He didn't have a position nailed down, but he just slotted in perfectly, didn't he? So my shout out goes to a player who's made a huge impact this season, and my shout out goes to Bobby McDonnell. Now, Bobby won't like me saying this, but he's been such a great impact player.
Yeah.
Now, just looking at his record this season, 21 starts, 19 sub appearances, limited game time, 15 goals.
Yeah, I think we thought he was just Connor's preferred, but he's been, by all accounts, he's been carrying an injury for quite a long time, hasn't he, Bobby?
I saw the strapping on his ankle. It was the ankle that was giving an issue, and it was huge.
Yeah.
And eventually, his ankle gave out on him away at Avro. And I spoke to him after the game, and he was devastated. But he'd been playing through that pain.
Yeah.
And like I said, he won't
Started
want.
off the great season, great with Lewis, didn't he?
Yeah, he won't want to be known as the impact player, but to have someone like that with that goal scoring record, you can't sniff at that.
No.
And Mick McGraw's referenced it a few times this season. To have that option off the bench. Going back to the Prestwich game. Not a great performance by Vauxhall. He comes on and transforms the game. And Mick said he was the best player on the pitch, and he only played 20 minutes in the second half. That's the kind of season he's had. Unfortunately, just limited game time has left him out of the run of this award. So with those shout-outs done, let's have one final look at the contenders, the 5 contenders of the Alan Barton Player of the Season award. I feel confident in saying this one was a little bit easier to decide.
Yeah, I think we all agreed.
Yeah.
We all agreed. It was...
5 brilliant contenders.
Yeah.
But for everyone that voted, there was one winner.
Yeah.
So let's find out who has won the Alan Barton Player of the Season award.
Michael Berkey, the Alan Barton Moses Mount Podcast Player of the Season. How does that feel?
It's an achievement, isn't it? Yeah, it's massive. Mainly just to be a part of something great here. Do you know what I mean? To be a big part of something. An important part. Sorry, yeah, it's a good achievement, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you.
How do you reflect on the season you've had?
My best ever. Defo. I don't know, I'm just one of them players every time I go out there, you know what I mean, to do the best, do you know what I mean, but it's more the lads, like, you know, again, you can't, it sounds cliche, but you can't do it on your own, can you, do you know what I mean, and, Lewis Buckley, 24 goals, I think it is, I've played a big part and I'm happy to do that, yeah, and to get something out of it at the end is the main thing, do you know what I mean, massive.
You mentioned your output this season, 19 goals so far. Has that improvement happened naturally, or is it something you tried to work on?
Yeah, it's definitely something to work on, yeah. But again, the lads, like, look at last season, where did we finish with the table?
Yeah, 8th place.
Yeah, 8th place. So this season we're top. it's obviously mean we've improved, do you know what I mean? So I've got more of the ball, you know. So yeah, just credit to the lads really, do you know what I mean? They've been unbelievable since the first day coming in, you know. Sandhills, you know, first day, and then to that the other day when we lead, do you know what I mean? So I think it's down to them really, to be fair, yeah. Just getting on the ball more.
You mentioned Lewis Buckley. You formed quite a lethal combination with him. 43 goals between you this season.
Yeah.
How's it been playing alongside Lewis?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, we joke. Me and him as just winners. Do you know what I mean? We always want to win. We go sometimes we're at each other's throats to go mad at each other, but we both want the same thing. That's goals. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's me assisting him or him assisting me. Yeah, I think back end of the season it got even better the more we played with each other because I never played with him before. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, been class.
As well as the amounts of goals you scored some really important goals at crucial times this season. Would you describe yourself as a big game player?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. This season I have been defo. Yeah, I feel I've scored in the big games with Shaw, Berry, even wins for the way, stuff like that, yeah, so yeah. And AFC, yeah, this season I have been, yeah. I wouldn't describe myself as that, but this season I have been, yeah.
And finally, finish the season as champions, promoted. How does it feel?
Buzzing, like, that's all that matters, do you know what I mean? Even if we've got 2 goals, you know, 2 goals doesn't matter. As long as we go up and everything we've done this season, every game, has been worth it, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, absolutely buzzing, really.
Michael Berkey, you are the Alan Barton Motors Mouth Podcast Player of the Season. Congratulations.
Nice one, appreciate it.
Well played.
Thank you.
That man again, Steve, Michael Berkey. I keep saying it. The man for the big occasion, stepped up at the right time, scored plenty of winning goals. You know, he was player of the season for a reason.
No, it's thoroughly deserved. He's been at it from game one. Scored vital goals. Works hard, like I say, and like I say, I think being on top with Lewis Buckley's helped him. But yeah, he's grew into that position, and again he can switch as well, and it's just it's just his improvement on last season. I'm not saying he was poor last season, I'm just saying he's gone up another level. But yeah, rightly named player of the season for us, our podcast, and rightly deserved.
So congratulations to Michael Berkey. I think 24 goal Lewis Buckley might have something to say about it. He was a worthy candidate.
25 might have someone got Lewis.
There's the next season's target. So with the awards out of the way, the final award to dish out was this beautiful looking trophy. Now, on the 10th of April, Vauxhall Motors welcomed AFC Liverpool to the Van Eupen Arena, and that was the first point of the season that this Premier Division trophy could be clinched by any team. On the day, it just happened to be Vauxhall Motors. Now, a win didn't necessarily guarantee the league title. We were waiting on other results elsewhere. We were waiting for the results of the Wythenshawe and Bury game. And in fact, we were worried about this game. Or the game here.
Yeah.
Torrential, typical Easter holiday weather.
Thought I was in Radcliffe for a minute, to be honest.
But there were genuine concerns that the game might either not go ahead or be called off.
It was in doubt before the game, wasn't it? And then at half time, that downpour. Then
we kicked off late.
Well, the second half, during half time, the subs are kicking the ball starting to stop, and you're like. But the sun come out, a couple of rainbows, and got the game finished, and comprehensive win. And then we were looking at Twitter.
It's one of those moments where
I did say, be great if Wythenshawe scored the last minute equaliser to win the league.
And what happened? 93 minutes, was it?
Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer team.
Vauxhall did their business on the day. Goals from Harwood, 2 from Berkey again. Jake Parker with a nice tidy finish. But at full time, that was all immaterial.
Yeah.
Once the news came through, everyone furiously checking their phones. The celebrations erupted, and what an occasion it was.
Yeah, the River Cavats were out celebrating, weren't we? Just in reference to one of the tweets that we got. But yeah, like I say, couldn't happen to a nicer team to lose any chance of getting promoted on the last minute. But yeah, it was we expected that. I think we all knew there was an outside chance we could win it that day, but But then you look at it, you're going to go to Avro next week. That's going to be a hard one. They need to win and stuff like that. But yeah, just to win at home, it was great. And I think after that the sun come out, wasn't it? And
it turned into a beautiful day, didn't it?
And I think you had your first pint in about 6 months.
Well, you know, if you can't have your first pint when you win the league, when can you? No. Just a brilliant day all round. Pretty emotional day as well for everyone involved, because second full season in this league, and to win the league in that short space of time, it's some achievement.
It's a great achievement.
So, as you mentioned, the next game was Avro, and what was potentially going to be the decided fixture, it was a bit of a dead rubber for Vauxhall.
Yeah, we went 1-0 up, and I thought they huffed and puffed. You know, said there was so much on the line for them. I think it turned out though they just didn't have to lose that game because Berry lost to Ireland later on. But yeah, it's just one of them, really. Get it over, get the car. You know, to be honest with you, the one game I was not forward to all season was the Burgers, and I didn't think that was great either. I'll give it about 8 or something like that. But it didn't look like on footage scans on Twitter, put it that way. So yeah, 1-1 and just job done. I think we all just want to get that out of the way to move on to West Didsbury, where we were going to lift the cup and have a bit of a celebration.
So we move on to the final game of the season. Now, you spoke about what occasion the day was, the atmosphere around the ground. We were surrounded by students and old timers, dogs. Great day. It was also a great day for 2 centre halves.
Yeah.
So when the team sheet came out, breaking news.
Slabbing at Grandad.
number 9, Ben Dufton Kelly. Now we think, this is a bit of fun, final game of the season.
I don't think he took it as fun. I think he took it as a serious game. And
he goes and scores in the first minute.
Yeah.
So I posed a question to him. Does that mean Lewis Buckley out, Ben Dufton Kelly in? And I think he's got a case.
I think he was deadly serious as well. But I think he does not play up top Sunday League.
And he's a bit of a goal threat, a bit of a goal machine in the Sunday League, yeah. So
you know what, he's got a great leap on him, great header. He scored just like one shot away.
The Squires Gate header to flick it on.
Come on to cause havoc up front, and you know, incidentally getting his 3 points there. So yeah, he did look out of place up there. Put himself about, big strong lad.
So Ben's another one who I think he might not have had the game time that he wanted, but he's made a serious contribution to the side this season. Definitely. And then, as you said, Grandad himself came on in the second half, Simon Thelwell, in what is rumoured to be his final game for Vauxhall.
Okay.
Penalty, and there was only one person to take it.
Missing that, was he?
His family were in attendance, they were right in front of us, and it was some finish.
Yeah, centre keeper the wrong way, tidy finish. He steps up, you've got no doubt, have you? He's going to put it in.
I mean, to be fair, he has played every single position at Vauxhall.
Yeah.
He played on goal. He played in goal last season. You know, I got to witness that. And playing striker for the second half of the final game of the season. Some finish that to a season and who knows, maybe a career. Again, though, what happened on the pitch was immaterial to the main event, as we dubbed it. We finally got our hands on this bad boy, and just another brilliant occasion. A trophy you yourself have held aloft.
Yeah, 23 years ago we won this for Vauxhall, so great to see the R fella back again. I'll speak to Gary Langley before the game. A bit of history on this. I think it was 1893. I think it was first made. And the actual winners, the first winners of this trophy was Liverpool Football Club. Now I'm sure it's 1883, but I'm pretty sure Liverpool didn't get from until 1892.
That's right, yeah.
So I think it's 1893, and it was the Lancashire Central League or something like that. And obviously it's gone through and now North West Counties, but lovely bit of kit.
It's a heavy pot.
Yeah, it's obviously a bit of history about it. So great for us to get our hands on it, but more importantly, we're going up.
Don't say we don't give you the good facts here on the Motors Mouth podcast. But that hour or so after that game, watching the players lift the trophy, photos with the families, you know, we got in on the action. Yeah. That was it's what we were talking about being enveloped in this growing momentum of this club, being a big part of it.
My ankle was absolutely killing me. I could feel it kicking off, and you know what? Just the one day I didn't want to laugh, because towards the end of the game, I think there's a bit of footage that I seen last night of me holding over to get a photo with the trophy. I was in absolute agony. But it won't get dent in the celebrations, and then obviously come back to the club and it carried on here. And just a great day to top off a great season.
And those closing moments that we had in the match coverage, totally chaotic, but players like Jordan Deere, Sam Booth, Ben Duffin-Kelly himself, Slabhead, Nick McGrath coming over to speak to us.
And then I think it was Mark wearing it with the
Mark Gibbs, club photographer, was still covered in your champagne.
£4.50 a can, that was
and a beer, yeah.
Must be made of money, £4.50, just throwing a can over 2 lads.
Drinks are on Mark. But
drinks are on Mark, yeah.
Even that little segment that we did, such a highlight.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was so natural, and you could just tell everyone was like how happy everyone was, and you know, enjoying the moment and stuff like that. So yeah, I watched it a couple of times last night. It was brilliant.
So a brilliant end to matters on the pitch for Vauxhall Motors. Now we have one final treat on the Motors Mouth podcast. This was an invention of Steve Hilton himself. During every episode of the Motors Mouth podcast, we have brought you mini motors, where 2 members of one of Vauxhall's many youth teams are given the opportunity to interview a first team player, and we've had players such as, we started off with Aaron Dawson, Ethan Goldborn, who is probably mentally scarred from his experience. We had Ben Holmes on, and under 7s player Sean Mosscroft. Sorry Sean, you do fit in quite well with the mini motors.
Yeah, we didn't know who was to answer the questions that they were showing us on.
But it's been a right laugh, hasn't it, watching those clips and being in the background.
The kids enjoy it, you know, when the kids come down, the parents are filming and you can sell there enjoying it, being part of it, stuff like that as well, which is the main reason why we devised that part of it, just to be a bit more inclusive and just try and get the younger side and the younger fans and the parents on board, and you know, hopefully them parents will come through the gate or tell their friends, come down and watch a game.
And if you pay attention when you're watching, you'll probably hear our chuckles and our giggles in the background, because some of the questions are.
And I just want to say, Mick McGrath took this so seriously as well. It was like a proper match where he was like proper thinking. Took it serious.
Well, we thought for the final mini motors of the season, we were going to go big.
Yeah.
Now there were rumours that we were going to get club legend Tom Manners involved, but I think he was a bit sceptical. There were even rumours of you and I taking on the mini motors challenge. That might be one for the future.
Yeah.
But we've gone right to the top. We have gone for the boss, Mick McGrath, and he brought along some friends called Joe, Kyle, and Steve. Have a look at this.
What's your name?
My name's Joe Heath.
What's your name?
Kyle Scarisbury.
What's your name?
Stephen Aspinall.
What's your name?
Mick McGrath.
Who scored Vauxhall's first goal of the season?
I'll have to take a guess here. I'm gonna guess Lewis Buckley.
Lewis Buckley.
Correct.
Lewis Buckley.
Good question, son. I'm going to say Lewis Buckley.
Correct.
Is it? Done well there.
Who was our first away opponent?
Lower Brett.
Can't think. Northwich.
No, Lower Breath.
Was it Lower Brett?
Didn't prep me for this, did he? I want to say Lower Breath.
Correct.
Is it? I'm good at this.
Who has the most yellow cards this season?
I'm gonna say Hayden Cooper or Tom Mitchell. Michael Berkey? Really? That's unlikely.
Could be a few. Michael Berg.
Correct.
Good
season. I'll go for Marcus James. Michael Berkey, because he answers back.
Oh, it's a toughie, that's a few of them. I want to say Berkey.
Incorrect.
No.
Michael Berkeley.
That's it, alright.
Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized dinosaurs or one dinosaur-sized duck?
One dinosaur-sized duck.
One dinosaur-sized duck.
A duck.
I haven't laughed yet. I don't know, the first one. That's a tough one.
Who has the most appearances this season?
Most appearances, I'm going to say Lewis Buckley.
Probably have to go with Michael Berkey.
Lewis Buckley?
Correct.
Who've I picked the most? I'm going to say Lewis Buckley.
Correct.
I'm good at this.
How many keepers have you used this season?
Used 4 goalkeepers. 6.
4.
6.
6.
Oh. It's either 5 or 6. I'll go for 5.
Incorrect.
Oh, you went like it was 5?
I knew you'd ask that question, You doing this to wind me up? I'm a bad manager, aren't I? 5. 6. I had 6 goalkeepers. That's terrible management, that, isn't it?
Who has the most man of the matches awards this season? Connor Hart.
Probably go for Michael Berkey.
Connor Harwood.
Michael Berkey.
Connor Harwood.
Michael Berkey.
Connor Harwood.
Has he? They must be watching a different game to me.
Does pineapple on pizza?
Do you think so?
Yeah.
No, it does not. I never ever should. Good lad.
How many players have you been used this season?
40.
Say around 30.
37.
Would be high.
35.
Should know this, shouldn't I? I'm going to say 34.
37. Christmas. How many points were we on?
50.
About 60.
51.
Pass.
51.
Why are you asking me these questions? 52. Oh.
In the 3-0 win away at Windsor, who scored?
Dawson.
Yeah.
Berkey.
Yeah.
Lewis Buckley.
No. Buckley scored 2 and Duffin scored 1.
Ah, right.
Connor Harwood.
Incorrect.
Berkey.
Correct.
Can't think of the other.
Berkey, Buckley and Dufton.
Dufton Kelly.
Lewis Buckley,
Yes.
Michael Berkey,
Yes.
and Ben Dufton Kelly.
Yes.
Lewis Buckley,
Yeah.
Michael Berkey.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the third. Ben Dufton Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. I knew that one.
How many chickens do you think it will take to kill an elephant?
Who thinks of these questions? 1,000.
Thousands.
10,000.
100.
Who has been used the most from the bench this season?
Bobby McDonald.
Yeah.
Sean Musgrove.
Bobby McIntyre.
Mozzie, Sean Musgrove,
Bobby
McDonald.
Probably not a good thing to say, this is really. Sean Musgrove.
Bobby Who is your favourite Motor's Mouth podcast host? Hilto or Patrick?
Hilto.
Probably have to go Hills because I know more.
Have to be Ilto because I played with him.
That's a terrible question, that, you know. I've got to pick one. Patrick.
I'm not happy.
3-1.
What's going on there?
3-1.
I don't even care who won the quiz. That's not on that.
3-1. And you know what? We done that question, and they're supposed to sit on the fence and just say, well, I can't answer that.
Not a single one of them sat on that fence. I mean, Mick's fine. I'm happy with that. But the other three.
Mick actually did say to me, the reason why I didn't pick you, Will Thomas, because I knew Patrick didn't have any votes. I'm only joking on that one.
Right, well, on that crushing disappointment, it's time to end the Moses Mouth podcast for 2022-23 and end the season. It's been a heck of a ride, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty good. Like I say, it only seems like yesterday we were doing the first podcast and the photo shoots and that, but yeah, it's been many miles, many places visited, many people spoken to. I had to top it off playing this beauty home and get promoted, and we're going to meet new people and new places next season. And hopefully bring you better coverage and improve what we've done this season.
So that's what awaits us in 2023-24. The Northern Premier League, Division 1 West, new challenges, new stadiums, new everything. I can't wait. I'm already counting down the days.
Got a couple of weeks of garden booked in by the wife, but
I don't know what I'm going to do.
I'll be itching by about end of April, end of May, sorry. I'll be itching to get back.
So just before we do leave you, we would like to send some thank yous to some people who've made this season possible. First off, a huge thank you to Baltic Apprenticeships for their sponsorship of the media team. It's quite a unique thing for non-league, for the media department to have a sponsor. And huge thank you to them, and onwards and upwards for next season. Huge thank you to everyone at Vauxhall Motors who have got on board with what we've tried to do, made us feel a huge part of this club. That's been an important part of our season, hasn't it?
Definitely.
A huge thank you to the people behind the camera who make us a tiny bit better looking than we already are, but they work hard.
I'm too sure about that.
They do work very hard to let us bring you our coverage. Another huge thank you to Mick McGrath, his coaching staff, and the players.
Yeah.
They've tried to, well, they have bought into
Yeah.
what we've tried to do. Huge thank you to most of the clubs that we visited this season in the Premier Division. We were made to feel very welcome, going all the way to the Isle of Man and as far north as Kendal and Alsager Town, places like that.
I'll just top it up by saying we made to be feel welcome at every club bar one. Simple as.
Doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out.
Every club has been brilliant bar from one. Come and have a look at Twitter, you won't know what it is, but I don't need any guesses.
But our final thank you is to all of you who have tuned in every week, at the end of every month, to watch this show. Without your views, we don't do what we do. Without your support and your feedback, and even just coming to say hello to us in the grounds before we start.
As the season's gone on, people, even away fans, you know, or when we go away, the home fans, we watch what you do and stuff like that. And I had one did be the day fella come up, so Betty commentary's a lot better than when you went away a few weeks ago. But he was one of their fans, was like just chat to you, and it's good when you're other fans that you've never seen before and you know what you do. But especially, like you say, everyone who's watched us and supported us and give feedback, and we're trying to take it on board. And like I say, hopefully next season we'll bring you bigger and better coverage.
And that's why we do it. Huge thank you to everyone for watching. We'll be back in 2023-24 for new beginnings in the Northern Premier League Division 1 West, but we're signing off here as
champions,
North West Counties Football League Premier Division champions.
So today's game's also
and it's 4-0 to Brighton. Frank Lampard's walked down the tunnel, he's got the start. Deitch comes out like Sean Deitch has come from the tunnel like the Undertaker. There's only one Stevie Hilton.
Round the bullseye.
Yeah, Heswall, and then you've come to the
Heswall, yeah.
3 consecutive games, and
don't we play all our games at home now?
oh, that's what I was told. Yeah, we must have made that one up that we were playing away. Yeah, the Vauxhall Motors only play at home
when we won't,
and play until we win.
Do an interview? We had a house?
Yeah.
Just like that to